Okay, guys, well, once again, welcome to our conference lesson for today. My name is Alistair. I am your conference teacher for this lesson here. It's called Talking About Cooking and Recipes. So we may get hungry during the lesson today. Let's have a look then at the agenda for today's conference lesson. Here we go. So we're going to look at an introduction to cooking and recipes. We'll think about cooking and basic vocabulary we can use. Also describing ingredients and flavors. And lastly, number 4, sharing cooking experiences and tips with other people. Okay. Well, let's have a look at our introduction to cooking and recipes. So we have a definition here. I am going to read through the definition twice for you to listen to and also to read as well. Cooking is the art and practice of preparing food for consumption, often involving a combination of ingredients, techniques, and creativity to produce delicious and nutritious meals. Cooking is the art and practice of preparing food for consumption, often involving a combination of ingredients, techniques, and creativity to produce delicious and nutritious meals. Recipes are detailed instructions specifying the ingredients, quantities, and steps necessary to prepare a particular dish. Recipes serve as guides for cooking and can range from simple to complex. So recipes are detailed instructions specifying ingredients, quantities, and steps necessary to prepare a particular dish. Recipes serve as guides for cooking and can range from simple to complex. Well, we're going to look now at some common cooking verbs. When talking about food, recipes, or cooking in general, it is necessary to take into account specific vocabulary. Therefore, prepare your pens and paper to write down any notes. Okay, so we're going to have a look at some vocabulary. By all means, take some notes. I will read through the vocabulary twice. You can also take a screenshot of the vocabulary, and of course the lesson will be available to look at again on the website if you miss them the first time. But here we go. Common cooking verbs: fry, saute, grill, steam, poach, chop, slice, grate, mix, stir, whisk, beat, roll, bake, roast, boil. Okay, I am going to read those common cooking verbs one more time. Fry, saute, grill, steam, poach, chop, slice, grate, mix, stir, whisk, beat, roll, bake, roast, boil. Okay. Well, let's have a look at some example sentences that use those verbs, shall we? So, I love to grill juicy steaks on the barbecue every summer. I love to grill juicy steaks on the barbecue every summer. After grilling the vegetables, she can mix them with fresh herbs for a flavorful salad. After grilling the vegetables, She can mix them with fresh herbs for a flavorful salad. To make sushi, you need to roll the rice and filling tightly in seaweed sheets. To make sushi, you need to roll the rice and filling tightly in seaweed sheets. Okay, let's move on then and think about some cooking basic vocabulary. So let's have a look at some ingredients we can use in cooking. Flour, sugar, eggs, butter, milk, salt, baking powder, olive oil. Once again with those words: flour, sugar, eggs, butter, milk, salt, baking powder, olive oil. Okay, here are some more ingredients: garlic, onions, tomatoes, basil, oregano, Parmesan cheese. Once again, those ingredients: garlic, onions, tomatoes, basil, oregano, Parmesan cheese. Okay, well, let's have a look at a couple of sentences that use some of those ingredients words. To make a pizza, we need flour, salt, garlic, vegetables, pepperoni, yeast, and cheese. To make a pizza, we need flour, salt, garlic, vegetables, pepperoni, yeast, and cheese. To make grandma's cookies, we need flour, sugar, chocolate, butter, eggs, oats, and baking powder. To make grandma's cookies, we need flour, sugar, chocolate, butter, eggs, oats, and baking powder. Well, let's now have a look at some more vocabulary, this time for utensils, the things we use. So here we go. I will read through twice. Mixing bowl, colander, grater, rolling pin, measuring cup or spoons, baking sheet, vegetable peeler, potato masher. Mixing bowl, colander, grater, rolling pin, measuring cup or spoons, baking sheet, vegetable peeler, potato masher. Okay. Some more utensils: cheese slicer, spoon, egg separator, pastry cutter, fish spatula, ladle, shaker. Okay, one more time for these: cheese slicer, spoon, egg separator, pastry cutter, fish spatula, ladle, shaker. Okay, well, we've got some example sentences using those, or some of those utensils. Number 1. She peels the potatoes with a peeler. She peels the potatoes with a peeler. Number 2. She stirs the soup with a ladle. She stirs the soup with a ladle. Number 3. She flips the pancake with a spatula. She flips the pancakes with a spatula. Number 4. She cracks the eggs with a spoon. She cracks the eggs with a spoon. Number 5, she sprinkles salt with a salt shaker. She sprinkles salt with a salt shaker. Here we go with some more example sentences with some more utensils. Number 1, they cut the onions with a knife. They cut the onions with a knife. They season the dish with a spoon. They season the dish with a spoon. They flip the omelette with a spatula. They flip the omelette with a spatula. They measure the flour with a measuring cup. They measure the flour with a measuring cup. They strain the sauce with a sieve. They strain the sauce with a sieve. Okay, well, let's have a look now at some cooking methods. I'm going to read through these words twice. Have a listen and read at the same time. Here we go. Grill, roast, broil, steam, poach, simmer, braise, stew, sous vide, smoke, ferment, cure. Once again, these cooking methods: grill, roast, broil, steam, poach, simmer, braise, stew, sous vide, smoke, ferment, cure. Okay. So let's think about cooking methods with instructions. Poach the fish gently in simmering water with a splash of vinegar. Poach the fish gently in simmering water with a splash of vinegar. Roast the chicken until the skin is crispy and the meat is juicy. Roast the chicken until the skin is crispy and the meat is juicy. Okay, guys, well, here we are. We've got an interactive exercise. If you wish, you can take part in this interactive exercise in the chat. So we want to complete the gaps with vocabulary regarding your personal taste and write it in the chat. So the first one, a delicious pizza needs and okay. You don't have to use all those spaces. This is personal for you. If you want to take part, you can in the chat. To make a tasty dessert, it's necessary to use in my kitchen, I always use and for example. So we want to try and complete those sentences in the chat. So I'm going to put one in too, I think. So guys, if you want to participate, you can open the chat and use your keyboards to tap in an answer. So for example, in my kitchen, I always use salt, coriander, and black pepper. When I cook. Okay, so we've got an example from somebody else too. A delicious pizza needs flour, tomatoes, olive oil, cheese, and olive. Okay, so a delicious pizza needs flour, tomato, olive oil, cheese, and olives. Okay, great. Another example, a delicious pizza needs salt, garlic, tomatoes, pepperoni, and flour. So a delicious pizza needs salt, garlic, tomato, pepperoni, and flour. Great. Okay. So I've put an example in there too. I said in my kitchen, I always use salt, coriander, and black pepper when I cook. Okay. And we have another example. Let's have a look at this one. A delicious pizza needs tomatoes, olives, and salt. Okay, fantastic. Okay, guys, I don't know if you want to try another one of these, but we're going to continue in just a moment, I think. Very good. We've got some great answers there. Okay, well, let us continue then. Well done, everybody, for taking part. Fantastic. So we're going to think now about describing ingredients and flavors in English. Okay, so it says here ingredients with quantifiers. Food ingredients are usually uncountable. If we want to describe indefinite quantities, we can use some, a little, a lot of. Oh, okay. Oh, we've got a couple more examples from the previous exercise. To make a tasty dessert, it's necessary to use a spoon. Great. To make a tasty dessert, it's necessary to use the spoon. Okay. To make a tasty dessert, it's necessary to use sugar, mango, flour, and eggs. Ooh, sounds good. Okay. So we're going to have a quick look at these quantifiers with ingredients. So food ingredients are usually uncountable. If we want to describe indefinite quantities, we can use some, a little, or a lot of. For example, is there some cheese in this pasta dish? There is a lot of tomato on this pizza. I like a little sugar in my coffee. Okay. Well, let's have a little look now at some more things for ingredients and how to describe them. Knowing how to describe ingredients and flavors facilitates effective communication, aids in recipe development, and ensures the selection of high-quality ingredients for optimal cooking outcomes. So let's have a look at some adjectives to describe ingredients and flavors. I'll read through the list twice. Have a listen and read at the same time. Fresh, organic, local, crisp, juicy, succulent, fragrant, aromatic, savoury, sweet, tangy, bitter, spicy, creamy. Okay, so these are all good food adjectives. So let's read that list again. Have a listen. Fresh, organic, local, crisp, juicy, succulent, fragrant, aromatic, savoury, sweet, tangy, bitter, spicy, creamy. Okay. Well, here are some more food adjectives. Adjectives to describe ingredients and flavours. Sweet, salty, fruity, citrusy, floral, herby or herbaceous, smoky, peppery, refreshing, balanced, exotic, rich. So once again, sweet, salty, fruity, citrusy, floral, herby or herbaceous, smoky, peppery, refreshing, balanced, exotic, rich. Well, let's have a look at some example sentences that use those adjectives or some of those food adjectives. Here we go. I really like spicy food. I really like spicy food. The milkshake is very sweet. The milkshake is very sweet. The fish is tasty and fresh. The fish is tasty and fresh. The cheese is more bitter than usual. The cheese is more bitter than usual. Okay, so we've got an exercise here. Again, if you guys want to take part, you can in the chat. We want to complete sentence 1 with the correct adjective, and sentence 2 also with a correct adjective that makes sense for the sentence. So number 1, write the correct word in the chat. Ethiopian coffee is very, is it A, refreshing, B, bitter, C, fruity, or D, salty? Okay, so number 1, we've got Ethiopian coffee is very bitter. We've got an answer there. And someone else said bitter. Someone else said Ethiopian coffee is very fruity. Okay, interesting. And then number 2, write the correct word in the chat. Indian food is very. Okay, so is it very local, very sweet, very spicy, or very balanced? Interesting. Well, we've got some answers coming through in the chat already, and it looks like everybody is going for spicy. Indian food is very spicy. Okay, well, let's have a look at those completed sentence. Okay. So there we go. Write the correct word in the chat. Ethiopian coffee is very fruity. Okay. And Indian food is very spicy. Okay, well, there we go. Fantastic, guys. Well done. Well, we're going to continue and have a look at the next part of the lesson. Sharing cooking experiences and tips. Sharing cooking experiences and tips. When talking about food, try to share personal experiences and offer helpful tips. So number 1, share personal experiences. Number 2, offer helpful tips. Number 3, keep it light and fun. Number 3, keep it light and fun. Number 4, use descriptive language. Use descriptive language. Number 5, respect cultural differences. Number 5, respect cultural differences. For example, the English breakfast versus the French breakfast. There it is, some pictures there. Okay. And now we have some common openers with new people in conversation, perhaps. I love exploring different cuisines, don't you? I'm considering trying a new recipe this weekend. Do you have any suggestions or favourite dishes you'd recommend? What recipes would you recommend? Okay, guys, so one last little exercise for the chat. What recipe would you recommend for me to make? If you could recommend something for me to make, what would you recommend? So one last exercise for the chat. If you wanted to recommend for me to try a recipe to make a dish, what would you recommend, guys? Would you recommend something simple or something complex? Something French or something more exotic? What would you recommend? Any suggestions for me? If you want, you can write it in the chat. It's no problem if not. We can continue. Okay, well, we're going to continue. Okay. Well, I have got some recommendations. Exotic food. Yeah. Okay. I like that. I do like exotic food. I would recommend spicy toast. I think I would like spicy toast. I'll have to look that one up. Okay. Well, guys, thank you very much for sharing those with me. Now, I am going to continue. Let's have a look at some more common openers. Okay. So, picture this. It is a dish with vibrant colours, rich aromas, and layers of complex flavours. It is very light and citrusy. Wow, sounds good. The next one. Last weekend, I ate a delicious salad with herby flavours and many tasty vegetables. Do you like salads? Okay, well, here we go. I have another recommendation in the chat. I would recommend a thali. Wow, I'll have to look that up. Thank you very much. Okay, so we've got one last exercise to do today. Write in the chat a phrase about cooking and recipes. Okay, write a phrase in the chat about cooking and recipes. Okay, so I'll write a phrase in the chat. So when I cook, I like to follow a clear recipe. And instructions. So when I cook, I like to follow a clear recipe and instructions. Okay, so that's something I could write in the chat about cooking and recipes. Guys, if you want to write anything else in the chat, now is your chance to do that. We're going to continue in a moment or two. Again, like I say, when I cook, I like to use organic ingredients. There you go, that's something else. Oh, great. Sandrine says, I love cooking pancakes. Okay, well, that sounds good. Yes, I like cooking pancakes too. I'm not very good at flipping them, though. I'm not very good at flipping pancakes. Okay, guys, well, thank you very much. Let's continue to wrap up the lesson for today. Okay, so well done, everybody, for your participation today. Oh, we've got one more someone else has written something into the chat. When I cook, I use several ingredients because I like the aromas. Okay. And that's another great sentence there. When I cook, I like to invent recipes. Oh, you're a creative chef. Me, I like to follow recipes, but you sound like you are creative. You like to invent. Okay, guys. Well done. Fantastic participation today, guys. Thank you very much for coming in and participating and watching today's conference lesson. I've really enjoyed sharing this conference with you today, but we have come to the end. So it's time to say goodbye. Thanks once again, and I hope to see you back here again very, very soon. Okay, guys. Well done. See you next time.